So we went out to dinner that night with some of the folks that were trimming, and there were some girls that came out. And I remember sitting at the table, waitress is taking orders and everybody's ordering drinks, and I'm like, have this like internal conversation with myself, this like battle, like, Branden, don't do it, like, you don't need a drink. And they get to me, like, what the heck, one drink ain't gonna, kill nobody, right, or hurt nobody. So I ordered a drink, and within hours after that, I was arrested for murder.
Never quit. Never quit radio.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the TNQ podcast. I'm your host, Marcus Luttrell. Every week, it's my job to fire you up, to ignite the legend inside of you, and to push you to your greatness. Join me every week as I take you into my briefing room with some of the most hard-charging people on the planet. They're going to show you how to embrace the suck of life, teach you the values of working your ass off, and charge through whatever life throws at you. This is the Team Never Quit podcast. So buckle up, Buttercup.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Team Never Quit podcast. As always, thank you guys for listening and watching, and please hit that like and subscribe button wherever you get the show. So today, before we get to our very special guest, let's kick it off with our weekly Patreon question. And this week we have, what is your number one goal going into 2025?
God, we're not there yet. I usually set that.
This episode will release on January 1st.
New Year's Day, yeah.
Well, I hate resolutions because it seems like you're always, statistically, people set themselves up for failure. So that's a tough question. Easy question, but...
Last year we had Dr. Gabrielle Lyon on for New Year's Day, and we asked her about resolutions, and she was like...
She said the same thing, right?
Yeah, she was like, we don't do
that?
resolutions, we do goals or something like that. And I was like, oh, that made me feel really bad about myself. Yeah. What's yours, babe?
So I set one a few years back, and every New Year's I sharpen it. So New Year's Day, I always delete all my apps on my phone. So just to get all the clutter out of there, and then I stack them back up as I go through just to see which one I kind of need. And then my morning routine, I'll try and sharpen that even more by the time, make sure I get up at that certain time.
What is that certain time?
5:30. So the dogs wake me up at 5:30, hands down. I usually sit up around, it's weird, like around 3:30, 4 o'clock. I'm just kind of set up, and I'll try and lay back down, but it's up and moving by that time. So I've already been in the chair and meditated for 20 minutes, said my rosary, walked 2 miles, get the kids breakfast and off to school. And I'm trying to sharpen that down even more so. My life is locked in. It's when I run into somebody else, I can help deal with what they got going on.
Yep.
But it never pulls me away. So I started doing that a few years back.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one. And for all of our friends out there, Marcus also deletes his contacts at the beginning of the year to see who texted.
I do that.
And then I'll get
like, who really cares about me? They'll send me a message.
Yeah.
I'll hear from them, and then I'll just lock them back in.
Yeah, I'm like, you need to reintroduce who you are because he deleted all of his contacts.
He forgot about you.
Which is kind of a pain in the ass because some of the contacts are pretty resourceful, and when I run into them, they're like, "Hey man, how come you haven't been texting me?" I'm like, "Bro,
why ain't you text me?"
Yeah, why didn't you hit me up, man?
Yeah,
it's always like that.
Yeah. What is yours? Do you have a goal at least, or 2025?
So this year is gonna be. I'm working on opening up, which we'll talk more about it, but a treatment center for men. And so this year I'm hoping we're operating in January, February, and so 3 days a week. Like I want to spend the mornings with those guys, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. For 1 year, be there 6 a.m., have them out on the weight pile, driving them, praying with them. But yeah, I want to 3 days a week with my guys that I'm serving. I want to start their morning. So that's going to be my goal.
So cool.
I think I want to keep it simple. Just
oh, you're young.
I definitely feel like I need to be more organized. So I'm going to do mine organization route.
What's your sock drawer look like?
So luckily my clothes is probably the most organized about me. I want to get my schedule organized, get like a planner, maybe something like that. Just have everything written down because right now I'm just going off the top of my head and things get falling behind and it's just hard to keep up with whenever there's a whole bunch of things going on. So I feel like that'll keep me on track a lot easier.
Yeah, you need to use like a digital calendar or something to send you reminders.
Well, most people try to stack too many things in one day.
Yep.
Like, I'm going to start doing all this. I'm like, hey, man.
Yeah.
Like with us, when we start working out, 1 day a week for 2 weeks, just to get over there.
Yep.
And not even work out, just to go there.
Yep.
And then the second week, then we'll talk. And it's kind of like with anything you do, man, you stack it.
Don't set yourself up for failure.
Yeah. Just get the idea. And let me tell you something. On January 1st, I want you just to think about being organized.
Yeah,
For
just
2
I
weeks.
Need to work on
Just
one
think
thing
about
at a time.
Yeah, just think about being organized for 2 weeks. And on that third week, get your planner.
Yep.
And look at that sucker for a week. And I mean, literally, instead of just tacking it on there like you're wearing it, man, tattoo it in there. And that's how
Yeah.
you do that. It's kind of like slow, methodical deal.
Yep. Yep. I like that.
So when someone taught that, it helps. Especially, when I learned that, man, when I got hurt, when I got injured, I couldn't roll in like I used to. And if you got something else going on, it affects everything else. That's just the
Yep.
way it is. I didn't know that.
You got to pace yourself.
Pace yourself, man. Like slow is smooth, smooth is fast. That's the saying in the SEAL teams. This is one of our most important ones. I mean, we say it regularly.
Say that again.
Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. And you've ever seen anybody who walks around into a room, who controls a room? Man, especially if they're smooth, they're moving slow.
Yep.
And they talk at a pace like an easy listening station, right?
That's funny you say that because I'm thinking about that, and that's Willie. Like if you hung out with Willie, he's
Robert-
just so slow, but he's smooth, and he's
because there's too slow. We were going like it's like the heart skipping a beat, or your motor's far, doing something wrong. But like when those ones that can just kind of. They get you on this rhythm, man, and it doesn't even matter what they're talking about. Like, I got you, man. I can hear you.
Yeah.
Willie's great though, and he does get everything done. So.
He does get it done, and but he's moving at his pace, slow and smooth, and by the time you're done, you're like, okay, I got it.
God, if you take the time to train that into a kid to where they can grow into it, because it's easier. Because with kids, it's like a one thing at a time.
Yep.
You can tell somebody's put the work into a kid like that.
Yeah.
Just by the way they move and how he is.
I don't know if they told you. So just for our listeners, we found our guest today from the Robertsons, and we have been friends with Willie and Corey for a long, long, long time. They were actually at our wedding in 2010, right before Duck Dynasty launched, or it might have just launched. And everybody at the wedding was like, who's the guy with the big beard?
They were saying that.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, who the hell is that
Yeah,
dude? Like,
with the big beard. Yeah.
he's a great guy.
It was just Buck Commander by then.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
Buck
yeah.
Commander. And then Duck Dynasty launched right after that, and everybody was like, oh my gosh, he was at the wedding. So it was really fun. But Marcus had met the Robertsons.
They used to have this shotgun commercial when they would paddle with it and be like, boom, boom, boom.
Yep.
Yeah.
That one, I when I saw that first time, I thought that was the coolest damn thing. When the Cajuns put that on the show, I was like, that's awesome.
And then they just became family to us over the years. So we absolutely love all of the Robertson family. They're amazing.
Let's back this up a little bit, man. Where were you born?
Petaluma, California, Northern California, just north of San Francisco.
Family from there?
Yep.
How long y'all been over there?
So we'll get into it in the story. I don't live there no more, but since my dad's part, like they born and raised.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yep. Born and
Siblings?
raised. Yep.
How many you got?
5.
Oh, wow. All right.
Yep.
Big family.
Yeah.
Big family.
So give us your
You
childhood.
got to answer yours though.
Oh, my Patreon question. Mine is
She
balance.
thought she was getting off.
Yeah,
of
I
it.
was trying to get away from it. My Patreon question is 2025. I just want more balance. I need to. I just need to figure out my ebb and flow better.
Yeah, because the tides, they are changing.
Yeah, that's just mine. Mine's easy and simple. But let's get into you. So give us your backstory, your childhood.
Yeah, so I was born in Petaluma, California. Back then it was a smaller town. It's a lot busier now. Farm town, ranch town, close enough to
What are
the
we
big
talking about? What kind of farming?
dairy, like lots of dairies, milk.
Because especially when I was in Texas, I was young, before I went there, when you think California, miss LA.
Yep, yep.
And when they say NorCal, they'll think San Francisco. They have no idea there's country up. Most of it's country. Beautiful country.
The crazy thing is like, if you look, like the election map is a perfect thing to look at. Like you take LA and San Francisco out of there, everything's red, everything's like rural.
People about it's amazing. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So Petaluma now it's so close to San Francisco. It's yuppity. Now I'm up in Chico, California, which is about an hour and 15 north of Sacramento, the foothills of the mountains.
Bro, that man right over there went to Chico State.
Matt Axelson.
Okay.
That's how I got introduced to California up there.
Awesome.
Great town.
Great town. Yep. Has everything we need.
Still is, right?
It still is.
Okay.
It still is.
Matter of fact, it was a lot of fun.
It used to be lots of fun.
Okay.
Yep.
I pray it's still a lot of fun up
So
there.
I never, back in my party days, right, which we'll get into.
We can talk about, it's okay, man. We can go back into our youth a little bit.
So yeah, like back in my party days, I never really had good luck at Chico. I think I had handcuffs on me both times, and just
Too much fun.
too much fun.
Yeah. It happens.
But yeah, I was born in Petaluma. Mom and dad were young, 17, 18, so kind of grew up with my grandparents, and moved around a lot. From mom. Mom got married to my stepdad, who I look at as my father. My real dad, I love him to death, but his handle is Frank the Tank, so that kind of
really
shows you what his influence, right? And
still roll like that.
He's slowed down. Slowed down, but it was he was always just fighting to see me, right? He was a big athlete himself, and always fighting to see me. But we all know how those custody battles go, and how family drama is the worst drama. So I was kind of stuck in the middle of that, and moved up to a smaller town, the most poorest town community in California, called Clear Lake. My mom and stepdad moved up there when I was in 5th grade to buy some property, and it was like the meth capital of California, one of the poorest towns in the state. So I seen a lot of just like poverty and the impact on drugs. My hopes and dreams was to play professional football or baseball. I was always the top athlete on any team I stepped onto. But by the time I was expelled, my junior year after football season, I had been to 17 different schools. So that shows you, like, I was moving all around, and as a kid, you need validation. You want to be accepted. You want to be seen. And so I knew my family loved me, but the only place I really had that real validation and felt seen and heard was when I was playing sports. So fast forward to getting expelled, and it's crazy because I still say it like I got expelled, which I essentially did, but the principal actually wanted me to do the rest of my junior year homeschool, come back my senior year, set up to go off to college and play football. But to me, I remember when he was telling me this, 16-year-old son or 16-year-old kid, you think you know everything, right? And like he's telling me, I remember going back to that principal's office, and he's telling me like, you can't do, this isn't working. And I'm like, all right, fine, I'm done. Like, it just was like, I know everything, I'm done. Like, my mind's made up, I'm stubborn as heck. I really only had baseball season and wrestling left because it was just after football season. But I walked out of that principal's office, and no school, no sports, no school. So I was like, I'm gonna go figure out this world on my own. My parents like enforced that. They're like, if you're gonna live underneath this roof, you're gonna go to school, which was homeschool, or you're gonna start working. And my dad we still owned the construction company, and so it was very easy. Like, I grew up working, whether it was with him or out on the dairies with my aunts and uncles. And then immediately, like within months of like making that choice to start working and become, an adult, a man, I going back to wanting to be a pro athlete. Like I loved the game, but then you see the lifestyle. You see the cars, the houses, the money, the women, like the whole lifestyle that the pro athletes, glamorize. And so it's like, okay, like I wanted that, as a teenager, when you become a teenager, you're like those things matter, right?
That's all your eyes are fixed on.
Yeah.
Whatever's shiny.
Whatever's shiny. And so that was real, and that had a hold on my life. And, I'm in this povertized community. Drugs are everywhere. Everybody who had a nice car, they were selling dope or growing tons of weed on the mountain. And so, I started, hanging around all the wrong people, all the wrong places, seeking this validation, wanting to be accepted, covered myself up with tattoos. And by the time I was 18, I had both arms tattooed, fully tatted, and I'm growing pot on a large scale. And so like full on criminal by the time I'm 18. And yeah, like it was downhill battle, from there, or uphill battle. And
What's that like? At 18, when you're running, because when you leave school and you start work and you get a taste of adulthood, it's kind of hard to turn back around.
Yep. So I remember, this is crazy. I don't even think I've shared this. I remember going to a football game, which would have been my senior season, right? And I'm already like, I got nice cars. I'm rolling around with a gun at the time. Well, depending on if there's drama or not, like going on, like I might have a gun with me. But I'm going to the football game to support my friends, the dudes that are my same age. I'm supposed to be quarterback on this football team, and so I'm sitting in the parking lot getting ready to go into the football game, and this weight of shame just came over me, this guilt, like I'm not doing what I'm supposed to. Like I'm gonna go in here, I'm gonna walk into the bleachers. You're gonna have like all the people that are thinking like, man, like he's supposed to be down there, winning football games for us.
That's exactly what they're thinking.
But then there's gonna be the parents like, oh, like what a waste,
That's
and
exactly what they're thinking too.
And I'm like, that hit me, and I actually think I don't even went into that game. I think like I went in and did so. I think I turned around. I supported the team and went to games from time to time. But that night specifically, I don't think I went in. Like I just sat there and I'm like, no, like this is, I can't handle this, right?
There's some things that weigh on a man.
Yeah.
I mean, real feelings.
But like I didn't know how to process that. So I imagine what I did is I went, because it was a Friday night, obviously football. I probably went to a party and started drinking and put those feelings into, a bottle of whiskey.
That's what we do at that age.
Yep. Yep. And so, and imagine I, got in some type of trouble, whether, it was, minor trouble or mischief.
Yeah.
So picked up an addiction. Not really, like the only time I've ever had handcuffs on me was when I was under the influence of alcohol. But I've done a lot of programs, a lot of work on myself and help a lot of people. But one of the things that I've kind of steered me away from the AA and NA meetings is, one, you're an addict and you can't live with this stuff, or, you just some of the philosophies haven't always set with me, because I wasn't relying on drugs or alcohol.
Yeah.
And like I was addicted, anything that could numb the emotions, whether it was, rolling wheelies on a Harley or doing, as fast as I can in, fast muscle cars, or surround myself with women, or what, partying, right? Even if I wasn't drinking, just like going, if I'm moving and doing something and tapping into that adrenaline, I'm suppressing the emotions and the feelings and all the thoughts. And my mom always used to tell me, she's like, why do you have a house? Why do you know what I mean, try to set yourself up with nice things, even though it was all illegally? Like you don't sit still. Like I've always been the ADHD kid that's always moving, but I processed that, that question to her, like, why do you, why can't you sit still? Well, I couldn't sit in my own thoughts, in my own skin. And so, yeah, by the time I was 18, I was living a full-on criminal lifestyle, and things just progressed. It was, just growing weed, selling weed. Then it became, shipping it across the country on a large scale. and then, hanging out with, the motorcycle world, the outlaw motorcycle world was like very attractive to me because there was a sense of brotherhood.
I get that. It is. It's there.
It's there. And
100%.
a lot of those
Some
guys,
of our guys do that when they get out. They roll right. I think that's why sports are so important when we're growing up as kids, because it's like it's a pack mentality.
the problem is like, what do you do when you don't have it?
Well, that's what I'm trying to say is you got to think when God put us down here to subdue the earth.
Yep.
Yeah. Once men got done doing that, then we started killing each other.
Yep.
So like, hey man, let's have some fun with this a little bit.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's supposed to
Yep.
be, we can go back and forth about it, but it's still a competition, because if you don't have that, guys will do this.
Yep.
Like we'll find a way to pack up.
Yep.
And there's a feeling that goes along with when you walk into a room and they're all in there. They don't have to be overtly happy to see you, but they're happy that you're there.
Yep.
And whatever it is we're going to go do, I don't care. Just as long as we're there doing it together, it'll always be fun, that kind of thing. And it's more addicting than any kind of drug.
100%. And like, that was very, very attractive to me. One, like, you got the motorcycles. I always loved motorcycles. And then you got like these guys who are like packed together. Nothing's going to separate them. There's like,
They fight.
they
Kill
fight
for each other.
They kill for each other,
Yep.
and so that was attractive to me. And so, these are my idols now. They became, I don't want to say my gods, but they were the influences in my life. And so trying to impress them and fit in, I went from drugs to violence, kicking in doors, doing, and it was always justification. And even in prison, when I went on to prison and, you have to, whack people or you have people removed or do all, it was always a justification, and I think like it's different in your circumstances when you're like having to fight for a country and innocent people. Like I was making a choice and like criminal choice. It's different, but like I would
it's exactly
justify.
the same though. And I tell everybody, all the guys like me, if you're an edge walker,
You could go one or two ways.
you go one or two ways, and we have built a place for your ass. Actually, two of them. You can go to the bad one, or you can come over on this side, and actually, we'll pay you to kick everyone's ass.
Yep.
We'll give you,
Which is where I wish I would have.
I wish you were there too. I wish every one of the guys that is in there right now knew this. Like, hey, I know what you're all about. I know what you're made of, man. We got a place for you. It's the baddest some bitches on the planet, and you will fit in here.
Yep.
But you got to earn it, and you would want that anyways, because even the gang members have to earn get in there.
Yep.
When they get jumped in, I mean, it's a thing.
Yep.
We do the same thing. We get our asses kicked, but man, the American people reward us.
Yep. You get paid. You get
And we
rewarded.
get paid, and I mean, good.
You're gonna wear the
Travel
baddest
everywhere,
patch.
and people recognize you, and they thank you for it.
Yep.
Like, hey, I know you're one of my rowdy ones. I
Yep.
know you are.
Yep.
But you know what? You didn't have anybody kick your butt, because a lot of them guys have to have their asses kicked into the right frame.
That's the
Yep.
difference.
That's the
I think
difference. You-
between the edge walkers. It's you've got someone that is instilling discipline and saying, okay, use this energy,
Yep.
all of this energy that you have, and go fight for this country, or you use it with no discipline and you go off the rails.
Yep.
Every one of those alphas in the penitentiary, every one of them, if they had the discipline first, they wouldn't be in there. They'd
Yep.
actually be running stuff.
Yep.
Fortune 500 companies, they'd definitely be keeping all the youth in check.
Yep.
The problem is you got all our bulls caged up, and they did that to themselves.
Yeah,
we
we
do
did
that.
it. Yeah, well, we made
do
the
that to
choice.
ourselves. It's damn gnarly. You scare people when you walk around. You paint it up for a reason. We all understand. Men know what that means. That's like a sign on something dangerous.
Yep.
That's what that is. But if you ever seen one of them dudes that has discipline, like a good guy, even though you know he's bad,
Yep.
they're the most amazing thing.
That's why they make
They're
movies
so
about 'em.
intimidated when they walk in the room, and the respect.
Yep.
And that's what every man wants, man, freaking respect.
you're a perfect example of that.
And I had my ass kicked by men above me, the bad ones. I mean, the hardcore. I grew up in Huntsville, man. That's where the unit's at. Them
Yep.
dudes didn't play. I got out of check, even from the judges down to the sheriff, be like, you ain't coming in here. And they took me in there, took me around to get me, where I could see it.
Yep.
And they never stayed off of me. And I would pitch, man, I don't know what that is. I had no idea what that was inside of me. But you got to put men around them.
Yep.
And if the youth actually went into the pen and they knew that there was alpha men in there standing by to give them discipline, not how we're doing it now. You
Yeah.
got ideas on that, but
Yeah.
like it was a university. Like
Yep.
you're going in there, when you come out, you're going to be educated because you can't get out. What if we did that? What if we said, hey, man, you not only have to do your time, but you can't come out of there without a degree?
Yep. Well, that's the thing. Like I have the most respected friends the brothers that I built while I was locked up. They got masters.
Yeah.
They're they did hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of hours of looking in the mirror, reflecting and just working on themselves. And so, yeah, I mean, it's wasted time. It's time that we deserve. The ones that I respect the most are the ones that, take advantage of it.
So going back to you being 18, does your mom know that you're doing all of this? I mean, she sees that you're buying things. She
Yep.
sees this lifestyle, but does she know that it's not because you're saving your money?
Yep. My mom, I've always had, my mom was 17 when she had me, right? So and then she wasn't there. And so my mom's always had, even if I'm doing something wrong, she's going to have my back, right? Like right, wrong, or indifferent.
Bro, that's a mother thing.
And she's going to have my back. And I remember I don't want to give up too many things, but there was a time where I had to go do something, and I'm like, I'd always call her and let her know hey, Mom, I'm gonna be off the grid for a little while, don't know what this looks like, but there might be a phone call, I'm dead, or I'm in jail, right? And so I'd always meet up with her and give her a hug, and she'd give me her little 2 cents, try to talk me out of it, and that just was how it was. And I met up with her and she gave me a cattle prod. I'm like, Mom, what's that going to do? She's like, I don't know. This just might. I'm like, no, but she had my back. She knew I was going to
How about that?
I was going to do what I was going to do. I think she realized she wasn't going to stop me. All she could do is pray for me and give her 2 cents. But I was going to do what I was going to do. Right. She met me where I was at. And there was probably a lot of defects and things that she probably shouldn't have supported or done and put her foot down, but she did her best, right? I think there's no book in parenting, and so in the moment you do your best, and I was her firstborn and leading the way, and so we're learning together, right? But she definitely did not support it. She's always there to bail me out or be by my side when everything hit the fan. And so, yeah, I mean, fast, it went, like I said, from just, the drug stuff to the extreme violence. And, during this time, when you're living this life, you develop this mindset, survival at all costs. Right. I'm not going to be ever there's a thing that I learned after, but the man box, right? And I'm never going to be, this is how a man's supposed to be, men, do this, say this, speak like this, react like this, usually it's all violence and anger. Anger was the only emotion, we're promoted to push. And, so fast forward to my crime that led me to prison, February 23rd, 2012, I was sober for 7 months. Now things are really, really I'm deep into the criminal lifestyle at this time. Rewind it back a little bit.
What does that mean? Rolling with a Cadillac and a 50 cal and
just, all of it,
the whole 9 yards, right?
There's, I mean, thinking about I'm getting stuff, I could call up cartel dudes and get, 200 pounds of whatever dropped off and hand over no money and bring it.
Right.
And but that pressure, I would send, $500,000 worth of dope across the country. And it's there's no money yet. I'm hoping everything goes well. And so it's something goes bad. I'm dead.
That's always there, right?
That's always there.
The pressure in that lifestyle is always
there.
That's
terrifying.
So
it's
it's got to wear you down.
Oh yeah, and that's why
paranoid. I mean, that's got to be worse than it's kind of like a drug.
It is.
Paranoia is actually a drug. You're just not taking it by your hand, man. It's like coming over the top of you.
Yep. And so that's why I was always partying. That's why I was
oh yeah,
surrounding myself with the party, because I didn't want to stop and think about if something goes wrong, right? But then you go out to clubs and it's you see I remember every room I walk in, I've always had this with me. Like you're scamming it. You're sizing it up. You're sizing up the guys. Like, okay, like
That's just an alpha thing.
That's an alpha thing.
an
This
alpha
is
thing.
my exit plan. This is like, if there's no exit, this is how we're gonna face the situation. And so it was real. I was like deep into it. And
Yeah, because it confuses you. Because you got to understand, man, that we're always going out into places where everyone's having a good time.
yep.
Like that's what you're living in the good time life 24/7, man. That can be tough.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, and yeah, you're trying to keep up with like everybody else. And so, financially you're like, I got to meet a certain quota in order to just be able to party and keep the good time rolling.
So at the time, if you're owning things, like if you own a house and you've got the cars and everything, are you actually thinking logically about, okay, I have to make payments on this. I need to pay my taxes. Or is all of that just out the window and you're thinking of today?
You're thinking about today. You have like big dreams and stuff. Like, I mean, essentially it is a business. So like you are thinking about all those things, but it's all, how do you beat the system? Because nothing you're doing is legit.
Yeah, so it's never, how can I better my community? It's like, what am I going to be, like the stuff we think about now.
I mean, it's stupid, right? But like, you do the toy drives and you do some of the fun stuff, right? That's like you're giving back, but you help individuals, monetarily, or you spend some time with them, but you're not really thinking about impacting your community in the right way, right? Like you
can't. You got too much other stuff to think about.
Yeah.
At this point, or have you said that the motorcycle clubs was attracted to you. Did you delve into that, or was that just like a pipe dream?
So one of the things that like you can't ever really fully go in if you're on probation, like you have to kind of start with a clean slate, at least the folks that I was hanging around with. And so it was like, and I also knew like, once you cross that line, like you're all the way in, right? And like I had a lot of selfish things that I was doing and that I wanted, and like I didn't want to give up. So like, friends and very close associates, but like because of my probation and my what was on paper at the time, like that was going to always prevent me from running the program, was what they would call it. And then also like knowing that like there's some things in my life that I don't want to give up yet. It's like anything, right? Like you got to give stuff up if you
Brotherhood in the family.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I have brothers in every one of them. Every friggin' one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're more disciplined than you can even imagine. Don't think for 1 second that's a bunch of dudes just rolling around on motorcycles. That's not what that is, man.
No. I mean, it's it's crazy because like I still am close, right? And like in with them, and it's a beautiful thing because the loyalty, the bond, the brotherhood.
I appreciate that, man. I completely appreciate that.
And like that's if other communities and sectors like had that type of loyalty, had that type of commitment to their community.
Yeah, that's a great way to say it. So how do we do that? How do you take the brotherhood that goes along in those packs, that all from the military all the way down to the 1%ers, to all the gangs and stuff like that? How do you take that and we flip that to where, man, you're not doing stuff for a bad reason. You actually get up in the morning and go out to help everybody around you, and then they reward you.
Yep. And that's the thing. It's like,
how do we do that?
It's a good question. And you see like some movies, like you think about like, American Gangster, right? When he jumps out, he pulls up in the neighborhood, Thanksgiving, opens up the back of the truck, and the whole neighborhood gets turkeys everywhere, right? So like he's helping people out in the moment and they're helping the community, but there's also like this other side where, there's the violence and there's the enforcing going on. And so like, reality of it is though, is like some of that, we live in a world, some of that has to be done.
This is a violent place.
Right? Like we live, survival of the fittest, and you can't let the weirdos and the funny stuff go on. And unfortunately, like law enforcement can't do everything. They don't know everything going on, and their hands are tied to do certain things or respond to certain things. So, it's probably one of the hardest things.
How about that? They have to exist in order for the other side to exist. Then you have the world living in the middle of that.
Yep.
All of that spinning together.
Yep.
And and we balance that.
Yep.
Or we try to.
You just brought up one of the hardest things to figure out.
Yeah, it is. That's probably our most difficult challenge.
Yep.
So going back to you were saying February, what,
23rd, 2012. Yep.
Yeah.
So shortly before that, a few months before that, all the folks that I was running with and had around me, like, Branden, like, you're a huge asset when you're sober, but you're the biggest liability when you start drinking, right? And so I committed. I had gotten in trouble. I've been on probation since I was 18. At the time, I'm like 22, 23, and I got in a fight with the undercover cop out at the lake, and crazy, talk about kind of lucky. I ended up getting thrown into a drunk tank in Napa County Jail, and they let me out because they thought by releasing me at like 3 a.m. is gonna like be a punishment, and like I just grabbed a car and went to San Francisco. I was like, oh, clubs are still open, right? Take me to the city, and but I didn't think I was gonna, because I didn't get no charges. And a week later, my probation officer calls me and she's like, hey, like, we got to do something. And at the same time, like, all these other influencers are telling me, like, dude, you need to stay sober, or like, we got to figure this out. And so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna check into rehab, like, that'll fulfill the judge and probation, and also like it'll help me advance in this circle. And so I'm like, okay, like, let's go to LA, right? And I didn't have the money, or wasn't going to spend the money to go to some places like Passages of Malibu or anything. So I'm like, there's a bunch of free, spiritual recovery homes. And so I go down, commit to one, and I committed 1 year. It was Victory Outreach down in LA, Santa Ana. And they wanted me to commit to 1 year. I committed 1 year, and then like within first couple of days, I see like some of the guys have their cell phones and like are working the system. So I fall right into that, doing the same thing. And I didn't go for the right reasons. I want, one, because I had to, otherwise I'd probably go to jail. And two, like, I wasn't fully ready to surrender my addiction in this life. And so about a month after I went there, I got kicked out, but I was committed to being sober, right? And I was like, sober and had healthy habits in my life. I was working out. I was doing all the healthy things, but I was still living a full-on criminal lifestyle. And so a few months later, about 6 months after that, is February 23rd, 2012, and we were growing. Me and Ryan we had a bunch of pot we were growing. I was up there at the property that he was staying at, that we were growing at together. And we were supposed to, there's like 50 pounds that were supposed to be ready, and it wasn't ready. And there was something going on that weekend. I wanted to get back home and get ready for, I think it was a motorcycle run or motorcycle event. And I remember we went to the gym in the morning, and I was like, dude, like, I'm just going to jam back and come back up here when everything's done. And he's like, no, just stay the night. Like, we'll have a good time, right? And that saying, like, we're going to have a good time, it just haunts me every time I hear that and think about it. And so we went out to dinner that night with some of the folks that were trimming, and there were some girls that came out. And I remember sitting at the table, waitress is taking orders and everybody's ordering drinks, and I'm like, have this like internal conversation with myself, this like battle, like, Branden, don't do it, like, you don't need a drink. And they get to me like, what the heck, one drink ain't gonna kill nobody, right, or hurt nobody. So I ordered a drink, and within hours after that, I was arrested for murder.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. So we went from there. When and one drink led to like
I must have missed something, man. I went from you having one drink to being charged with murder.
Yeah.
Just
So we obviously had dinner, and then we went to the Safeway, grabbed a bunch of liquor, went back to the house. Everybody's partying, drinking, and then me and Ryan, kind of had some words, and he blasted, he punched me, and then from there it just kind of went into a blackout, and I grabbed the knife and ended up taking his life. And, in that moment, like, the world stopped, right? Like, because of my own issues, because of, the choice not to, continue getting help and work on myself, I removed a father from 2 young boys, and yeah, just mom without her son, and yeah.
Who was Ryan to you? Was he just a childhood friend, or?
So we had known each other. We had known each other through like the kind of party community, criminal community I was in. We had known each other for about a year. We were we were friends. You read newspapers and stuff, and he was my best friend, and like we were friends, but we also were doing business, and in that lifestyle, like, you could be friends, you could, have, something goes wrong and your best friend could become your enemy. Right. And so, not that any of that has anything to do with me taking his life, and alcohol wasn't an excuse either. It definitely was a factor, in my decision making that night.
Sure. That's what that is.
Yeah.
Man, you got to look at the human body as a cage, and whatever it's holding inside of that whiskey will get it out of there.
Yep.
I mean, it pulls down all safety mechanisms, all protocols. That's how it used to work in my head. You can feel it when you start putting that courage in there. Talking about it just does. It's like rocket fuel for some guys.
Yep.
That's why they can't have it.
That
Some of my boys, man, that's a Jekyll and Hyde. That's why they call that stuff wine and spirits. You put that, back in the day, they would call it elixirs and potions, because it'll bring something out.
Yep.
My father would always say, man, you want to interrogate somebody, you ain't got to beat them down. You don't got to scare them, get them drunk.
Yep.
Because they'll tell you whatever you want to know.
And people would always be like, I remember sitting on a plane last year, and I got upgraded to first class, and they hand out drinks right off the gate, and I thought she said sparkling water, and it was sparkling wine, right? And so I take a sip and spit it back in my cup as soon as it hit my lips. And the lady next to me, she's like, kind of chuckling, was like, "What? You didn't like it?" I make the joke, last time I drank, someone died. She's like, "Oh," and I'm like, just joking, right?
Not really. Now you have that.
Yeah.
Most people can't walk around with that one, bro.
Right? And, but like,
Weird stuff happens when I drink this,
yes,
okay?
yes. We're not, you don't want to, I'm just joking, but really,
So you're an opposite. You're a Jekyll and Hyde when you drink?
you
Or
know,
does
like
somebody-
9
are
out of
you-
10 times, like we're having fun.
Fun, right, yeah.
But like, it's also like
One.
that one time the destruction is so bad to where it's not worth the other 9 times.
Well, and obviously, if other people in your life were telling you that you were great and reliable when you were sober, but
There's a reason.
yeah, there's a reason they're saying that if they're warning you not to drink anymore. So,
It's weird because when you hear them say it, it hits.
Yep. Yeah.
And a lot of people, it's because the ones that really love you, they'll watch you do it.
Yep.
Like, oh, he'll be fine. He'll just kind of, and it's just
Well,
like
they like you in some. They like. 'cause
Oh yeah, they like hanging out with you too.
They probably
that part,
drink,
yeah.
and so they're like, hey, like like even though he's could be crazy and we don't know what we're gonna get into, like it is still kind of fun, right? And so they're gonna support it.
A lot of us like having those guys around. Actually, especially if you're out doing something. I grew up with them. I mean, they're a lot of fun. And we were talking about this earlier. With anything on Earth, the human body has to learn balance with it. Because when we get into something, man, we'll normally go high speed, like drinking, just boom, let's see how far we can take this, man. And then you don't know what it does to you. And then the good ones can level out.
Yeah.
Like, I can drink 2 and I'm good. Like, damn, dude, I never
Never figured that one out.
yeah, that wasn't in my brochure.
well, it sounds like both of you are very alike in this. Is you just don't stop.
Yeah, I don't have any quit in me.
Yeah.
No,
So
team never quit,
Team
right?
Yeah. Marcus stopped drinking in 2021, and it's literally been the best thing that's happened to us because, I mean, the saying, like, there are just some people that it does not serve them to drink. It doesn't serve the people around them, and there's nothing good that comes out of it. If someone thinks, oh, they're fun, those aren't the people you should be hanging out with.
Yep.
And the people that want you to drink are the ones that have problems themselves.
Yep.
It's always those people.
They feel better when you're
Yeah.
when you're wasted, like getting in trouble, and they're like,
Yeah, they
Well, it's a
can
lot of
talk
fun
about
too
you.
with each other.
Yep.
You can have that for sure. And I remember in the military, I was squared away when I wasn't drinking.
Yep.
And then when I would go out, I wasn't the liberty risk, but everyone else was at risk when I was on liberty.
Yep.
Because I just go hunting. I
Yep.
thought, hey man, and whatever your desires were, I'll bring them out of you. Like if I was drinking, you want to have some fun? Let's go. You want to drive that thing fast? Let's go. I was that guy. I couldn't. And that was why it was so powerful the chiefs around me and my head share were real powerful men, and they were always out there too.
Yep.
And they'd be like, get your butt back in the check. You know, they just right to the edge. And just, I always had that. I was so fortunate.
And the crazy thing is, like, I look back and, people are like, oh, the only time you've ever been in trouble or done something wrong is when you were drinking. No, it's the only time I've been caught, right? Is when I had alcohol on me. But, like, back to the people that were telling me to get help for, criminal motives, right? Sober Branden was like the guy you wanted to get stuff done, right? Like, he's the guy that's going to be able to, like, keep you out of trouble and get whatever we need done, right? Like, he's going to bring the entrepreneur side out of it. He's going to bring the balls to the walls out of it. Like, everything you need, he's going to do it. But once he starts drinking, like, there is no care. Like, he'll get into it. I mean, I had a DUI. I got in a bar fight downtown, and this is when I was like 21. Get in a bar fight and go down, leave because it was like, all right, time to go. And so I go down to the liquor store, and I'm going and get a bottle of Jack, and I'm sitting there in the truck, and I see the car that the dudes that I just fought, I see him drive by, and so I'm like, round two, right? And they call the cops, and I'm so drunk they drive right to the back of the police station. So I pull up to the police station.
That's a great story.
Hey, I pull up to the back of the police station. I'm not like I had some music blaring, took a swig out, sat it down, and jump out, and like, obviously, like, my vision wasn't, I thought I'm going to go fight these guys, right? Well, it's, a handful of cops coming out of the with
Hell, I thought I was
tasers,
kidding,
and
turned out to be a tiger.
yeah. So I didn't win that battle, got a DUI luckily I put on such a scene that they didn't care to look in the car, and I remember the next morning I called my dad. I'm like, hey, Dad, you got to go get the truck down at the police station. He's like, should I know anything? I'm like, well, we're not going to talk over this, but just go pick the truck up. And it might have been a good thing had they searched the truck. And there's so many times where I could have been, sent off to prison for something other than taking someone's life. Obviously, that wasn't the plan. But yeah, could have. I skated by one on that one. But that was the type of, guy I was when I was drinking.
So what's going through your mind when the police are there telling you, like, do you realize in the moment when you did take his life that that's what happened? Or was it just a blackout and you wake up and realize, oh shit, I did something wrong?
Yeah, I think, it's one of those things that there's different levels, and we process and kind of filter and go through, acceptance is a process sometimes, right? And, as soon as the act itself was done, because obviously, like, there's times, and that wasn't the first time that, when I was drinking and I got, like, into something, like, I just go into a rage, right?
So that's what I was going to ask you. So were you enraged or were you calm? Because if you're enraged, that's two different people.
I was enraged. Like, I just get blasted in the alcohol, and so I just go into a rage. And then, like, there was a couple other guys that came off the couch that were his side, and so, like, I got hit in the head with the shovel, the little fireplace shovel. And so it's like, but back to that, like, that voice in my head, like, something bad's gonna happen, and you're gonna have to fight, right? And so just went in a rage. But as soon as like everything was done, it just was like there's this crazy, like, I just knew something bad, I'd done something bad. And I remember there was one of the guys who I knew, he was like over in the corner, just like deer in headlights, just looking over and at everything. And I just got up and, like, seen the keys, and it's like, I need to leave, obviously, and ended up getting in a high-speed chase, like, leaving, and got in a high-speed chase for a couple hours. And at that time, like, the adrenaline's pumping, and I actually wrote a letter to my mom about it, like, the one last hug, right? Because, like, I got hit, like, blood's all over me, like, the adrenaline's going, like, I don't know, like, exactly what anything's, happened to me. And so I'm like, I'm just going to drive to my mom and give her one last hug, because I'm either, I'm dead one way or another, right? Whether I've been, like I haven't even looked to see if I had got stabbed or like what happened. I just knew I was covered in blood. So I called her and was like, obviously like the alcohol and stuff's like kind of kicked in. And so I was like definitely slurring my words, but, was like, I'm just going to come, I'm trying to get to you. And she was like 3 hours away. So the police they got behind me probably within like 20 minutes of me driving. And, yeah, I just remember like, man, like that was the longest. It felt like I was driving across the country, when them cops got behind me, and I'm like,
You were like one of those TV moments.
man, like
How many you got behind you? All of them?
all of them. There was like 3 or 4 helicopters. Like there was
Oh
like
my
3
gosh.
different
Good one.
counties.
So did you kill this dude dead?
Yeah, he's like
Like on the spot dead?
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah, and so I ended up, I just remember like, man, like, should I just kill myself? Like, is there a way like I could just like take myself out, right? So like they don't have to like arrest me. I remember going over bridges, like, could I just
Death
like
by
pull
cop.
over and jump? You know what I mean? And like,
So all that's running through your head?
yep.
I was going to ask you, man, you listening to the radio? Do you have the window down?
No, I'm talking to my mom.
Oh, the whole time?
Yep.
Check.
And like this is like your mom's love for her son. She calls dispatch and like tells them like, because there's this thing like the only people that get shot by cops are people of color and stuff. And that's not the case. And so like
That's not true at all.
that's not true at all. And I was a perfect candidate to get shot, right?
Yeah.
And so my mom knew that, and so my mom called dispatch and got on and like let them know like he doesn't have a gun. And like, it popped up on the news and like we're watching. And so like she kind of like fighting for me.
She was watching you on the TV?
Yep.
And talking to you.
And talking to me.
Yeah.
And so long chase, I went through some spike strips and the car just stopped rolling, right? Like blew it up. And I remember they sicked the dogs on me. It's funny because a couple shepherds got me, tore up my leg, and that's what
They come in the car with you?
Huh?
They come in the car with you?
I jumped out. I
check.
jumped out of the car and they sicked the dogs on me and they hauled me down. And we had that's what we have as shepherds and Malinois. And so my wife's like, isn't that like, why do you have these dogs? Like, I'm like, I got a personal bond with them.
Those two right there.
Yeah.
Those two especially.
And
They'll
so
get your ass, man.
like, yeah, I go to the hospital. They take me to the hospital, obviously. And, no one's telling me, the cops aren't telling me why I'm being arrested, but I know like it's over. And, they finally get me up to the detective's office and they're like, we're arresting you for murder. And I'm like, all right, like that's it. And so then I go on the journey of jail and prison and, figuring out if I'm ever going to come home.
How long did they give you what'd they give you?
They arrested me for murder, first degree murder, which is 25 to life. But then, I fought my case for almost 2 years, and the district attorney agreed that it was a manslaughter case.
They gave you manslaughter?
Yep. And they actually offered me 7 years, but with 2 strikes. And I was like,
That was your second one, your third one?
that was my first one. I hadn't had any strikes at the time.
Right, yeah.
But I'm like, I'm going off to prison. Like, I know what prison's going to bring. Like, having 2 strikes over your head, like all it takes is one more and you're done, right? You're removed from society. And so when they offered me that deal, I'm like, asked my mom, and my mom's like, nope, we'll take more time with 1 strike. So I ended up taking 11 years with 1 strike because I knew that probably not done fighting and I'm going to be in prison where,
You can get one in there.
oh yeah. And so
And that's academy in there,
yep.
man.
And so which happened like down the road, like I ended up getting more time and through violence. So like they would have struck me out and I would have got a
Did
life
you jump
sentence.
back into the life in there?
So now I'm I'm fighting. I remember, and I'm just going to share this. I remember about 3 days after like the dust settled, right? And I realized like this is a nightmare. Like I'm fighting. I took Ryan's life. This is real. I had this vision and just this reality of I'm gonna use this to help people be sober one day, right? I'm gonna use this, and whether it's in prison and I do life, but like I'm gonna help other men and people live their best life through sobriety, and then I just started dreaming about having a rehab, and obviously that's what we're doing today, which we'll get into it, but I remember, talk about like bringing the God part into it, probably about 35, 40 days after everything happened. Every time I like try to go to bed at nighttime, and I've been in like all the things, every time I close my eyes, all the like harm, the harm and pain that I've caused, like would just fill up my mind.
Yeah.
And every time, and I just was hard to sleep. Mentally I was just kind of broken, didn't have God in my life. So spiritually, like, not developed, nothing there. And I just like, I was like, man, like, I don't want to do this, right? Like, this isn't what I want. So thinking of, the mental health aspect of it, like, the suicide thoughts, and it was like, like, no, like, I'm not just going to do that. Like, go get into it with the cop, make them kill me, right? Not, justify like doing it a different way. And I remember telling, like, I just would keep that in. I wouldn't talk to nobody about it because I wasn't never allowed to talk to that. I didn't have, didn't know that was okay as a man to talk about your feelings. And I shared it with my mom, and she's like, honey, like, you need to pick up a Bible. And like, I've heard that before, but for whatever reason, I get off that payphone in county when I shared this with her, and I go over to the book cart, grab one. And later that evening, I opened it up, and immediately there was this comfort over me. And I was like, wow, like, this is real. And so that, I didn't obviously become a Christian in that moment or anything, but I'm like, okay, like, this is my new routine. I'm gonna pick this book up and find my comfort and peace in this hard situation. So, go off to prison, get sentenced, 11 years, one strike. Obviously in that sentence, in that courtroom, I had to, one of the hardest things I had to do is look at his family and try to, the judge gives me an opportunity to say something, and there's no words I could say. So it's like, my life moving forward is committed to preventing this from happening, helping other people, stay away from this road, this life. And hit prison, and I knew prison was like,
Which one?
Huh?
Where we at?
So I went from county, I went to Tracy, which was the old, like, it's the reception center, which was like the gladiator school. And then from there I went to Corcoran, to Pleasant Valley, and then down to San Quentin.
Made Quentin, huh?
Yep. And
They write songs about that place, man.
they write songs about that place. It's not as bad as it's not as what it was back in the day, but at least today it isn't. But like, like, I'm not going to use alcohol and drugs, but like, I'm still like committed to this lifestyle. And so remember, I came in, like, when I hit reception and they check your paperwork, make sure you're not, a weirdo or sex offender or any of that stuff. Like, they're assuming that, like, I've been in the system. And now I didn't ever lie. And I always, like, I'm a first termer, right? And there's the thing, but like, you look apart, you feel apart. I've always had that, like, leadership, that alpha. And so, a lot of men in prison, there's a lot of strong guys, but there's a lot of weak individuals too.
Yeah.
And so, like, I manipulated that and put myself immediately, which is probably the worst, was the wrong thing, but put myself in the circles of the leaders, of the shot callers, because, I knew survival is like, if I'm,
Oh, you hear that growing up.
yeah, if I'm making the calls, then the shot ain't going to be called on me. And,
Right.
If I'm not, like, I'll put in my work and do what I have to, but, and so, like, I made that decision to, like, jump in and play that game, which, there was a lot of stress that went with that, a lot of decisions, a lot of, really just a lot of stress.
Can you go in there and do your time without having to deal with all that?
So you can, like, this is the rule of thumb. For whites and for the Hispanics, and every race has different politics, but with the whites and
We separate in there.
we separate. Yep. There's no eating with another race. There's no playing sports with another race. They, that right off the gate. If you don't know that on your way, like, once you get off the bus, like, okay, you got to get in where you fit in.
Here's your in brief.
Yep.
Hell
Yep.
yeah. There is a feeling in certain environments when a man walks in there, you know exactly what's going down.
Yep. Yep.
It's like in school or even in there. Man, there doesn't have to be a fight going down physically for you to know that there's one about to.
Yep. Yep.
You feel that, and when you get trained or you go back into the cage, man, those instincts come back out of a man.
Yep.
We try and calm those down. The more civilized we get, you want to sharpen them suckers, go back in there.
Yep. And it's funny you say that. So I remember, the first time I hit the yard, it was actually my second day at yard. The whites and the Southsiders. So like each race has their ally that they mess with, right? And so the Southern Hispanics was our ally with the whites. And so we were playing a little softball game, right? And anytime I could play sports, like I would, as long as, it was with our race and was allowed. And like, I'm out here playing softball and it's like, we're maybe like 20 minutes in and the whole energy of the yard just changes. And I started looking around and like seeing everybody like trying to like, not look, but look, right? And sure enough, two white dudes are just stabbing the hell out of this dude right in his neck.
Oh my
Blood's going everywhere. And they were skinheads, and he was a Jewish dude, right? He was a Jewish gay dude that was on the yard that no one knew about until then. That's why they were whacking him. He wasn't a sex offender or any of that, but he's a homosexual and he was a Jewish, and these guys obviously are skinheads, and that's what they were doing. I remember seeing this. And the dude didn't die, but he was bad. It was bad, right?
Yeah.
And they came out, they put him in the ambulance, and obviously we were all laid out, and 20 minutes later, ambulance clears. They do a little weapon search. Didn't find anything, and boom, program normal. Softball game's normal.
Game.
Oh my
I'm
gosh, that's terrifying.
Okay, this is it. And I'm like, two things. I'm never gonna do that. And then when I realized, like, I do my like asking around, without trying to be too nosy, and like realize like this is how the skinheads get out. And so then I see like all these like to your point, the just regular white guys made a decision trying to get education, getting targeted by the skinheads. I'm like, yeah, no. Like I've always been against bullying. And so I made even another push to get to the spot where, I'm calling the shots and no one's, on at least at that prison's above me. And so strategically every place I went, I try to eliminate the skinheads because, the way I seen it is they always were the biggest dope dealers or dope users, not dealers, which like in their philosophy, they're supposed to be purity, like all about, purity and not, putting stuff in your system. And they're the biggest hypocrites, and they were the like best friends with the Mexicans so I just seen like most of them were fake and they were weak, and they were the bullies. They would go after like the guy that came in for DUI that just was a business guy, had family. They'd go bully him. And so, that was like my, and it just, I'd always, have issues with those guys, and try to, as we had to run a certain program, things have to be done, but like you try to keep the peace as best you can. I think it's like any type of fight that you're constantly in, you try to keep the peace, but when issues come up, you deal with them in the best way and keep going. That's prison. It's always going to be like that until there's not those types of prisons. So,
well, you can't get any fluid either. Guys are coming in and out of there.
Guys are coming in and out, and so
the fear factor and the anger factor is always in there.
And so to your point, like you could go in, you could get sentenced to some time and you could go in, but just know that like, you're probably going to have to like, put in some work. Your days, you're going to probably have to go do a 2-on-1 at the minimum, which, is the way you remove, someone that needs to be removed, unless it's, and so with that, you'll go to the hole for 30 days, you'll come back and that's your commitment to your race. Right? That's you saying, I acknowledge the fact that I'm here, I'm for you guys, then you keep your head down, and there's a good chance your name may never called. You just run your program, because there's always knuckleheads that are messing up that have to be put on deck, right? And so like I seen a lot of guys that never had to do anything, and so like you can get in, and now there's programs, and there's prisons for the guy that wants a program, and there's prisons for the guy that wants to play politics.
Really, they got that now?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so, by the grace of God, like I never got in any trouble while I was at all the prisons until I got to San Quentin. So 2015, late 2015, I showed up to San Quentin, the prison I wanted to go to, because they had a college program and a baseball team that plays civilian teams.
That's right.
And so I get there, and it's a whole different environment. Dorms, and everybody's out together. Races are playing with each other. It's like a men's camp, like volunteers walking around, like women coming on, like just like culture shock. And at the time, my grandma was diagnosed with a rare lung disease. They gave her 6 months to live. She was like one of my, heroes. I'm in San Quentin, which is like 15 minutes up the road from Petaluma. So I'm thinking I'm going to get all these visitors. And so, you always find out who your best friend, who your true friends are when you go away. And so life was just hard, and everybody, because of, the reputation that I was, built, the bad reputation, like everybody's always trying to, you want to drink, you want this, you want that. And I, no, gave in, took some of the prison made whiskey, and
What's that stuff even taste like, bro?
it's bad.
Is it bad?
It's bad.
Ah.
It's strong.
Is
yeah.
it piss?
Degreasing parts and killing
just-
brain cells, right? Know what
Yeah,
they're saying?
yeah.
Oh.
So, I relapsed, right? I had about 3.5 years sober, but at these other prisons, there's no programs. There's no self-help. Church and AA are like the only things you get, and you get action at them like once or twice a month. And usually that's where you meet up with the other yards, and that's where everything's passed. So it's really not used for church or used for recovery. It's used to, pass messages off and keep the system running.
But San Quentin worked it out, though.
San Quentin got a good program. And so I get there, but like, I've developed this prison belief system that like, this is how you operate.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh yeah. And there's like weirdos, like people aren't checking paperwork. And so there's like, I say weirdos in the fact, like, today I'm not looking at them as weirdos, like as a Christian, like,
I get it, bro.
I'm not trying to pass judgment, but like in contents, like,
What's the other word you can use for that? Right. There's a bunch of them. I know exactly what you're saying.
There's a bunch of
man.
them, right? But like,
Yeah.
And so I'm like, you know what? Like, I can't. I'm not going to do the rest of my time here. And the only way to leave a prison is through violence. You can't, like, I remember my grandma always telling me, just go talk to your counselor. Grandma, these aren't counselors like that, right? That's not what it's about, right? And she'd always be like, did you talk to your counselor, Grandma? You'd see the counselor once a year unless you're in trouble, right? And so I made a choice. There's a dude that, had some funny paperwork. And so I'm like, all right, like, gonna pack up and get shipped out of here. And so I went and you stabbed him. And in the process, I went to the bathroom to try to get rid of the weapon, and the cops came and I ended up getting into it with one of the officers. And that's a big no-no. And so for that, they ended up putting me into the hole. And then they gave me a DA referral for battery on staff, which they were looking at like 8 to 12 years. And
Yeah, you can't mess with them.
no, like they didn't care about the inmate on inmate stuff, right?
You can't mess with a guard, though, man. That
Nope.
thin gray line. Y'all are serious
Nope.
about that, too, right?
Yep,
Am I
yep.
right about that?
Yep. Yeah.
I've always heard that.
So like because it was in a dorm, there was no gun tower,
Yeah.
right? And so because there's no gun tower, they couldn't shoot me. And like any other prison, if I'd done that, I would have got shot with the Mini 14, easy. Because like the first dude I blasted, and it was on. And
Did you just hurt them or?
no, like the first guy who came in, like you got to think like I just did this and I need to get rid of this weapon so I can't get charged for that. That's where my mind's thinking, not thinking like, but if I put my hands on this guy, it's even worse.
It does go to a singularity thought when you're in that kind of moment.
Yeah, and so But I'm saying it as like trying to paint the picture because everything happens for a reason. And had I been at another prison, had this happened outside of the dorm on the yard, I would have been shot with the Mini 14 dead. And so, they tuned me up. I got beat up a handful of times. And this is where I was earning respect, even though I was being punished by the administration and the prison staff, because they're whooping me. And I'm just like, take me to my cell, like, you need medical? Nope. Just give me to my cell. And they put me in the hole. There was a bunch of drama going off there. I had this crazy story where talking about like praying to God. Like we were in ADSEG, we were having a lot of drama with the Hispanics, and I was the only white guy, and there was 13 essays, right? And so they put me out on the yard early one day, and I found the day before out on the yard, I found this piece I'm just like digging in the crack because it was like wintertime, and I was up against the wall. You got to go to yard mandatory, so it's pouring, and I'm digging in a little crack, and I pull out this piece of metal like this big, like a bone crusher from the 80s. This thing had been there forever. And I was like, holy moly, like this thing's gonna like.
I want to put that there.
This thing will kill somebody. And if you have this in your hands, that dude in the gun tower is gonna shoot you. And I'm like, and you can't just like, hey officers, like I found this, right? Yeah, you don't do that, right? And so I'm like, holy moly. And I can't get it back in the crack. And so I'm like, put up my jacket sleeve, and I'm like, found a spot for it. And I'm like, okay, like I gotta hide this so the Mexicans can't find it because there's drama with us. And so I remember like the fog came in, and I went to a medical ducket, and then they dropped me off on the yard early. And so the rest of the guys haven't come out yet. And then the fog came in, and I remember like pacing, and then when I found a spot to put this knife, that I was like, man, like you got to work this out, God, like this could be all bad, right?
When you say fog, you mean one of those good clouds that sits in there and you can't see.
Yep. And so they locked the prison down.
Right.
So they pull me in before they release everybody, and then at that time, some stuff like everything had caught up, and they're like, we're going to transfer Branden over to the Adjustment Center, which is the Hole for Death Row, the most secured housing unit in the state, and that's where. It was scary, like kind of a little freaky. They're taking me from a regular solitary confinement housing unit to the Hole for California's death row. And I go in this place, and it's like, you just could feel
death in there.
Death.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I think there was like 53 guys in there at the time, all of them, multiple murders, if not like serial killers. Just quiet. You could hear a pin drop.
Not allowed to talk in there or do anything, right? Or nobody talks anyway.
No one talks, right? Like you get a 4 a.m. shout out and a 4 p.m. shout out, right? And outside of that, it's quiet. And
is it dark?
No, it's not dark. You get the sun coming in, but it's just creepy. It's just creepy vibe.
Death's there.
Death. And
I got an odor.
Oh yeah, it's
freaking odor. When she's
and
around,
at the time, when the officers would do their every 20-minute walk, they would walk in riot gear. They didn't want you to see human contact, right? And there was like sally ports in between the cell doors. Like it was a different type of housing unit.
So what are you thinking when they put you in that?
Like, just like why?
Why'd I do?
Why? And then like, man, like this is like, because you hear stories, right? Like back to that paranoia and like always like, trying to prepare for you hear these stories of like officers popping doors. Like there was a thing, the Green Wall, which was like the correctional staff gang that's known as probably the biggest gang in the California prison system, and it's cops. And down in Corcoran at Pelican Bay, where the shoes where the big holes were, they were cracking doors and betting on these guys to fight, right? Like different races. And so like you hear these stories all the time, right? And so I'm like, man,
they make movies about them.
They make movies about them, and like I'm hearing, I'm like, man, like I'm like surrounded by killers, right? Like, like there's always just this like extra like stress or like.
What was that movie came out? Felon,
yeah. And the best one I think is Shot Callers. If you ever want, Shot Callers is like the most authentic movie I've seen.
All of our generation brushed up on prison movies, gangster movies, all that.
Yep.
Training Day, you freaking go through the numbers, especially for y'all over there.
Yep.
But I didn't know anything about your life. And then in the 90s, when we all came crashing together and all the hip hop, and then LA prison gangs and everything like that, man. I got a
Shawshank.
Redemption.
full
Yeah.
freaking
Yep.
education in that.
Everyone our age saw Shawshank.
Shawshank, yep.
That was just
Yeah.
Freeman, Scott.
Yep.
yeah. So real quick, while you're in this, are you, at this point, because at the previous unit you were in, you had opened the Bible. At this point, are you praying? Or do you know scripture? Is that any part of your life?
Yep. So I called myself today. I look back, I was a closet, cowardly Christian because I was reading my Bible. I was doing what I was supposed to do every morning, but like it wasn't leaving the cell. It wasn't leaving me. And so they put me in the adjustment center. And this is a story where God uses anybody. So they put me in the adjustment center. We go to yard 3 days a week, do your mandatory workout. And then, depending on how much time left, whoever's in, because you're in dog cages, you're not on a group yard. You have small talk or you have conversations. And so I had nothing, I say I have nothing to relate to, but I really didn't fit in. Like I had respect from the guys, but there was this guy named Stomper. His name's Todd Givens. They call him Stomper. He'd always get put next to me, and the most violent, scariest guy on death row or in the California prison system, both the prison population and the staff would contest to.
So our most dangerous man.
Yes.
Tell me his name.
They call him Stomper. His name's Todd Givens. He had
White dude.
White dude. 7 confirmed kills. Went on this just crazy story. Don't want to get too off topic, but he was fully committed to that lifestyle.
Yeah.
And we get done with our workout, and he's like, we start talking. He's like, man, what do you want in life? And it was May 21st, 2016. He's like, man, what do you want in life? He's like, and didn't even let me, interject. He's like, man, because you have, everybody's telling you got to do this, you got to do that. I'm looking at a bunch more time, and if they let me back out on San Quentin, I got to commit violence again, and just I'm in this revolving door of violence in politics now. And he's like, what do you want in life? He's like, is this what you want? Or do you want to get out there, enjoy your family? One day get out of prison, and make a life for yourself? Or, is this what you want? You want to be a prison tough guy? You want to be a bad dude? Because if so, get out there and kill everything and come back here with me. Come back here with us. Because this is where the worst is. This is where all the baddest are. And he's all, but if you have an opportunity, take advantage of it. Because if I could go back to my 14-year-old self, before I joined a white power gang and put all these tattoos on, I would. But I don't have that choice. I have 3 death sentences. I'm fully committed to this. And I got this dude who's he's giving me this pep talk, kind of ministering to me. And then I go into my cell that afternoon, I'm praying. My younger brother, Benny, his birthday's the next day. And so I'm really thinking about him. He has Asperger's. And he was struggling. Benny was struggling. And Benny was like my kid brother, right? Until I got locked up. I'm thinking about Benny. And so I'm praying to God for Benny. God, help him, heal him, just help Benny. And I hear this thunderous voice scream at me what are you going to do for me? What are you going to do for me? And it just comes crashing down on me. God's just challenging me, calling me out right now. You're always asking me for something. You're always praying when you're in one of these situations. But what are you going to do to me? And it wasn't a question I needed answered. It was him telling me dude, you need to give me your addiction. You need to surrender your life to me because you can't manage it. You continue to find yourselves in these types of situations. Give your life to me. Because a lot of rookie Christians that I call them, we're always going to God when we need help. Financially, God, can't make rent, or pay the bills. I need a new job. My family has cancer. We're always asking for something. And, I don't think there's this discipline in Christians where we're going to God to one, thank him. But then most importantly, asking him, how do we serve you? Right. And so he just challenged me. And so I get out of this prayer. I'm walking back and forth, I don't want to make this promise. God's the only fearing thing there is. And I don't want to make a promise I can't keep because there might be a day I get out of prison. I want to, take a sip of some whiskey, or all these scenarios are going through my mind, and I'm like trying to justify why I can't make this promise. And then it dawns on me, like, what do I have to lose? Like, I make this promise, like this could be a lifetime of like fulfillment. So I get on my knees, May 21st, 2016, promise God never use alcohol again. From that day, I've been delivered. Right, I had 8 to 12 years hanging over my head. Should have been shipped to Pelican Bay, like up on the Oregon border, the worst prison at the time. Stayed at San Quentin. All these barriers and roadblocks I had. Shouldn't have stayed at San Quentin, because the rule of thumb is, you don't, when you have an assault on staff, you can't stay at the same prison as that guy, right? Or officer. The dude was he was a reserve, a Navy reserve. And so
Got called away.
I told, when I went to committee, I told the warden, I said, man, like that wasn't my, like you guys weren't intended to be involved in any of that. You know the situation. And I was like, I apologize, and let me speak to him. So that the guy, the officer came back, and I was able to apologize. And the inmates were judging me, like, why you do, like, man, like it's not what it's about. Like, I'm gonna be accountable, and that wasn't my, it's the right thing to do. Like blue or green, like I'm gonna always do what's right. And so because of how I handled it, and because I didn't cry about the whooping they gave me, I think is one of the reasons. But it goes further. The captain who gave me the opportunity, because I told them at committee, I said, give me one chance. I'll show you guys what rehabilitation looks like. Give me one chance to stay here. Because they could have shipped me out. Like I should have. So I ended up staying. But this pastor, so my mom, after I committed my crime, I took Ryan's life. She's now a mom that, bore a murder, right? She goes into a church, random church down the road from the house, asked this if she could pray for her son if there's a pastor. So this pastor's like, yeah, they go and pray. And he's like, she just got up and left, never seen her again, right? She must have felt the comfort and knew everything was going to be okay after that, because that's how my mom's always been. And she just like, she'll be struggling and then prays and boom, like it's going to be okay.
Women are powerful like that.
Yep.
Got a good cry in, dude. Everything's good.
It's good.
Weird.
Right?
We don't have that.
No.
We didn't get
That's
that.
why we need them around us.
Yeah. That's right. There's a few things that they have we don't.
Yes, and we need.
Yeah, we need it.
And so.
Because just seeing it makes you just.
Yep.
For
this
a man,
pastor was ministering and taking this captain who had my fate in his hands, was like taking him around the world doing ministry with them.
Yeah.
Right. And so fast forward, I get out of that, and now I haven't worked on myself. So I dive into all these programs San Quentin offers, and really just, go to work and start working on myself. And then back to that entrepreneur, that leader in me, like I'm seeing like, okay, what's missing? Like, how can I start, supporting these groups? Actually, how can I start, especially around sports? How can I start some of my own groups and really, help, build things that help these men. And I started doing these tours. There was like 7 or 8 of us that when the public would come in, we do Q&As and walk around the prison. The officer, Lieutenant Robinson, he's actually just retired out here to Texas. He was like, he's seen something in me that like he wanted me a part of that, right? And gave me this chance. And so I get called, I do a tour, and you never do 2 tours a day. It's just not normal. And so I do a tour, I get back to the cell, and I have 3 guys come to me like, Branden, there's a tour. There's a tour in the chapel. Well, I'm saying that voice because the third guy was my buddy Rocky. He was Vietnamese, and he's like, Branden. And I was like, what, dude? I'm trying to get coffee. I did a tour, been out of the cell all day. He's like, chapel, tour. I'm like, Rocky, no, captain. And I'm like, captain? Like, that's not lieutenant, right? And so I'm like, all right, Rocky, I'm heading out. And I come walking in, I'm late, and the captain who was in my committee and gave me this chance few years prior was like, get up here. And there's three dudes, like it's not a big tour, there's 3 dudes. And it turned out to be Miles Adcox, Bob Goff, and then this other guy who after walking around, come to find out he's this pastor from Petaluma that knew the captain. He's been ministering. But I didn't know until a couple days later, because I tell my mom and my wife everything after, at the end of the night. And my mom runs into this guy at the Starbucks and is like, hey, you were at San Quentin the other day. Do you remember me? And It's like, no, like years back, I came in and prayed with you for my son, and the other day you met him, and he's like, what the heck? It was like, so like, 8 years. It had been 8 years, and like he comes in and connects with me, and so, from that day though, me and Bob started working on the his dream big at San Quinn, and so then the Robertsons came in shortly after, and like, just count so many people, so many opportunities would come to me into that prison. And like when I came in this morning and met you, right, like I don't know how many people have hit me up like, that guy's my hero, right, like that guy's my hero. And I'm talking like ex-wardens, people in the governor's office, law enforcement, my other friends who've done time in the military. They're like, and I'm sitting here like, man, like why did God give me this opportunity when they should? Like I've done nothing but like bad things. But like that's where it's like God's had his favor on me. And like obviously like all those times I should have been to prison for other things, but I went for this thing. Like there's a reason. And so, just yeah.
Wow.
Like it pushed us far enough to the edge to get us where we needed to be. Like that's how deep you had to go to start where you needed to be.
Yep.
And I had
Rock
to go,
bottom.
You know what I mean? And then you're in those moments on the in-between because you hadn't reached the bottom.
Yep.
You're like, hey man, how do I keep? I'm trying to be good.
This is a crazy thing. I wrote a little thing yesterday. I remember when we watched. So you don't get good TV in prison. Now they got tablets. It's actually a good time to be a prisoner at
Oh my God.
San
I
Quinn,
love your
right?
optimism. I mean, you
Don't-
gotta
does it-
keep it,
does
bro. I'm with you.
They got
I got your
tablets.
back, boys. Stay strong in there, man.
But they don't ever get like you get once a week they put 2 new movies on the institutional channel, and when you get a good movie it's over in 2 or 3 hours, right? And
Yeah.
so I remember when Lone Survivor came on, and my bunkie Chase, who's like my kid brother too, he's serving life. He came in at 18, and I just like put him in a headlock and been mentoring him and loving on him since. And we lived together for 5 years until I came home. And he's like same exact. He went to the recruiter and committed, but then he got linked up with the outlaw motorcycle world and got on probation, couldn't get out of it. And so like just a diehard. He's like a soldier, tried and true, just never actually went and served.
Yeah.
And I remember when we watched that movie, and when you got pulled out in the movie, when you got pulled out and you finally were rescued, it was like, man, like that guy could endure that. Like we got this. Like we done put ourselves.
That's how you
here.
got to think.
And so it was like this mindset. Like, and you have to develop a mindset, but like it was stories like yours that would keep us going, right? And like the unfortunate part is we don't have in it, like you don't have the positive side of it, right? There's all this negative, all these choices that you've made, but like it's still inspiring and it's so relatable because you're rock bottom. The
Yeah.
only way out is through and up.
I put myself in there. I did that to myself. Same as y'all. It's just a different walk.
Yep.
Just right beside each other. Same type of dude.
Yep.
Same type of guy. It absolutely is. And when you go into when they put you in prison, man, you go in there with that negative. It'd be impossible finding positive out of there. But if you can somehow find that and start just pushing back, just the way you carry yourself, just like you said, that's how you got to do it, man. It's easy for us to break.
Yep.
It's like what happens is, man, is you get broken down, you get broke open. Because if you get broke open, then something else is going to come out, which is going to be stronger.
Yep.
You don't come out of that Gladiator Academy. You don't come out of what I did weaker.
Yep.
You may have had your ass whipped in there, man, but the day you get out, there's a strength.
Yep.
And we all acknowledge that.
Yep.
Man, every human being knows some of the things that men have to go through just when you hear it. Like
I think the and correct me if I'm wrong though, I think the strength, the long lasting strength comes in the healing process. Like you get through it, you take your lickings, but then like when you stop and like really process and think about it, then you're reminded like, holy moly, like I am capable of anything. Yep. I do have like the ability to overcome anything.
Yeah.
But like in it, sometimes you're just like, man, like you're going so fast and like you don't stop and think about it. And sometimes people like yeah, you gotta stop and really process it and get through some of the traumas of it. Like, man, like that didn't feel good, but like it built me to
Sure.
be better, built me
It's
stronger.
with anything.
Yep.
Like when people go into the gym, look, when they're in there lifting weights, they look like they're in pain. They're screaming. They're sweating. The stuff's heavy. They don't feel good. Man, they look cool later.
Yep.
That stuff comes later. If you're going in for some superpowers, let me tell you something. When you're getting them, it's not fun.
Yep. It shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be. That's how you know you're getting them.
Yep.
I mean, if you wanted something to make a feeling, that's how guys know. Like, hey, man, I earned this.
Yep.
And the minute you step out of that and a human being recognizes you for carrying that, then it's kind of like it just got tacked in. Because then there's a feeling that goes with it.
Yes.
Like, oh, okay, not only do I feel this way, but you just recognized me for feeling this way.
Yep.
And then that's when that power comes in. And if you're doing that for good, like it's one thing to get recognized for being a bad boy. It is. Especially when you're young, it feels good. I remember that, man. But there's so much more reward if they knew you were there to help them.
Yep. And that's what his life's all about, right? Like,
Yeah.
is finding that like God-given strength and ability, that purpose, and then using it to like help people, right?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I had to go through all the things I went through and harm a lot of people and take someone's life, but like that was so I could relate to the people and help people down the road.
So tell us about the day you find out you're getting out. Like what is that like when you think that your road is just a revolving door of prison?
Yep.
And you realize you're going to get out and you actually do have a chance.
So I have a unique coming home story as well, right? But I wasn't supposed to come home because I did pick up some more time. They gave me 4 years with half, but then I got in trouble, obvious other troubles too. And so I maxed out my time, and my out date wasn't until 2026. Like I should still be in prison technically, right?
Really? Yeah.
On God's time right now, right? But laws changed and things would happen, and I got a bunch of good time credit, and they let me come home early. But I remember there's a thing called a VIO. So if you have a certain crime, you have a certain amount of time, they don't allow you to go under level 2, right? So you can't go to like fire camps or anything outside the walls. So I go to my committee. The one time a year you see your counselors at your committee, and it's to like assess your points. Were you good for 6 months? Yeah. Or for a year? Yes. If you had a job for the whole year or employed, then you lose points, and that's how you drop custody. Or if you didn't, you did trouble, they assess them, they tack them on, you go to a different level. So when I went to my committee during COVID sometime, I think it was 21. Yeah, it was the 2021 committee. They asked me if I wanted to get my VIO taken off. And I was like, yeah, because then I was like, I could go to fire camp, right, and get even more time taken off. So they didn't want to because technically you needed 7 years clean. I only had like 5. But then they're like, you do a lot of work here. And so they took my VIO off, and I was going to go to fire camp. Counselor calls me at work, and she's like, hey, you want to go to MCRP? Now listen, the prisons are abbreviated. They use the initials, like, the counselors do. They don't ever say San Quentin State Prison. They say SQSP, right? And so MCRP sounded like some PC, like weird prison, right? Because there's a couple like M prisons that like were no good prisons. I'm like, nah. She's like, are you sure? I was like, what is it?
Doubled up on you.
She's all, it's like, it's transitional housing. Like you get out there, you get an ankle monitor, I'm like, oh yeah, sign me up. So they shoot me out to MCRP, which is a male community reentry program. And as long as you don't have sex crimes, you are a low level offender, and you're within 2 years to the house, and you're a legal resident in one of the counties that have an MCRP, right? Those are the main qualifications. So they shoot me out to it. Boom. I remember getting in that van and going out and seeing the Sally Port, the barbed wire, like, I'm never coming back to this place unless it's a volunteer, right? Never going to be restrained in this place. And I get there. I remember get up there in the afternoon because it was up north. My wife and kids got to come up and bring my clothes, and like that first like visit and hug, and I had Chick-fil-A for the first time, which was
Good stuff, man.
Good stuff, right?
Chick-fil-A.
And So I'm there, and how it works is, your first 90 days you do program, and then they let you go get a job. And they take like 50%, put it on a CD, and the rest you could, maybe it's a little bit more, the rest you could have. 72 days into it, they realized they made a mistake, and I wasn't a legal resident from this place. I committed my crime in that county, but I wasn't a legal resident.
Oh my gosh.
So they put the cuffs on me, and they drove me back to San Quentin. I was like, oh man. And I remember like there was this dude that I was mentoring, and I was like loving on. I was actually going through 40 or purpose driven life, the 40-day challenge with him. And we were on like day 38 or something. And I he's crying. Like this kid's never like showed any emotions, and I'm seeing tears. And so I'm like shooken up, but I'm like, okay, I got to be strong for him right now. And I'm like, you got 2 more days left. You got to finish it on your own, and you need to find someone to do it with, right? And that was my message as I'm leaving. And I get in the car, and I shed it, like I just like let it out, 1 or 2 tears, took a deep breath. But then I realized like there's someone at San Quentin that needs me. And this name popped up, Jesse, little Jesse. Little Jesse was the youngster that I was a mentor, groomed in to take my shortstop position on the baseball team, took over my my spot on the film production that we had created, and just was teaching. And then the Bob Goff, like he was my like PR guy with him, and so I just started thinking him. And I get back there, they put me down in the dorms. There's 1,000 guys. Guess whose bunk they put me on? Jesse's. Jesse just had 2 brothers who were murdered and needed someone. So I was like, in that moment, I'm like, all right, like, I'm here for a reason. But it was hard. And so I had to do like 106 days left at San Quentin. So I went back. It's free for 72 days, or structured freedom, I'd call it. I had an ankle monitor, but kind of was out in the world. Went back and then did 106 days and finally came home September 9th, 2022. And that was the best day. Like just having, a family there. And, it was cool because like we wanted, like COVID protocols were still going on. So like not a lot of restaurants wanted big crowds, and there was a lot of people that wanted to celebrate my coming home day. And so I was like, let's just have a potluck at mom and dad's, and just whoever brings the best dish, well, I'll probably be hanging out with you most, right? So like I put a challenge out to everybody to cook their best meal. And then, life, when you come home, like I got married in prison to Lacey, right? And so we had known each other from like the tattoo world and motorcycle world. But she was married to our kids' dad, and knew of her. But then right when I came out of the hole, and kind of had that God moment, I reconnected with her. Most of the time in prison, I did have a cell phone. I don't think they could be used for a good thing, right? Like stay connected, but obviously they could be used for bad things as well. But I reconnected with her, and so she was going through the divorce and just lots of domestic violence and trauma. So we kind of trauma bonded and became best friends, and asked her to marry me. And the kids, like I always wanted a family of my own, and give them the like structure that I really didn't have. And so coming home to her and the 4 kids we have little Beckham now, but she had her 4, and like that was a challenge. Like we hit the ground running. Like you got a bunch of kids, and they've been she's been grinding as a single mom, doing everything, and now like I'm out, and I wanted to work and contribute and get us into a house out of the apartment. And so hit the ground running, and lots of opportunities, and people wanted me to do this and that. And the biggest thing I think is I still a challenge, and you might relate. Like I just feel like I there's so many people that I need to serve, and so many people I need to help, to where sometimes I forget about the closest, the most important people. I get out doing so much.
Whichever ones these suckers lock on to. Mm-hmm. The eyes eat first.
Yep.
Whatever human being God put in your path, starting from the time you get up to the time you go to down, that's how you do it.
Yep.
Because I would do the same thing. I'm like, how many people, we need to do this and that. And I was like, hey, man, don't worry about that. I'm going to bring them right to you.
Yep. I like that.
And I mean, it helps.
Yep.
Because otherwise, we'll try to go to you burn that battery down,
Yeah.
and then you'll be in a place you're not supposed to be.
Yep.
We do that.
That's me.
Because
100.
imagine you still have the voices.
Yep.
I do too. But the predominant one that I hear and that I listen to is the one upstairs. And then I'll listen to it. I'll know what to do. And then I'll be in the middle of it and somebody will do something. And then I'll be like, then that other side comes in. I'm like, oh, I could do it this way though.
Yeah.
I could get that done this way. You still have that?
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
all right. I don't think that ever goes away.
No, that
bro.
don't go away. That's
no,
just,
it never does. And I think that's so you can relate to whoever it is you're talking to.
Yep.
I mean, I've been on both sides. You've been on both sides.
Yep.
And if they know that, then you hit different. That means your sword's sharpened on both sides.
Yeah.
Well, that's why discipline in prayer is so, like, you have to have it.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have that discipline to pray and to not ask God what, for something, but ask him what he wants of you and that you can see it and to open your eyes to it. So you're always in like this reverent state of, I want to walk on your path. Just help me see it.
Yeah. Guide it.
Yeah, guide it. And if you don't do that, then you can get lost in the world.
Yep.
So easy.
Yeah. I think so. When I came home, talking about like just trying to follow God's instruction, I always knew that like I probably shouldn't go back to Petaluma. And I just like from once I knew I was coming home, like I'm like, okay, because me and Ryan both were from Petaluma. The crime happened up way up north on the mountain where we were growing at, but we were both from Petaluma, which is, smaller town community. And but then Lacey, I was always praying like, because she moved out from Arizona to Petaluma to be closer to us. And so, praying for a community to rally around her, which the church, she got involved with the church, and we got the kids into St. Vincent's, a good, sports private school. And so like, I'm like, okay, Petaluma, even though it's crazy expensive, like Petaluma's, I'll come home to Petaluma. A month after I came home, it was like Halloween, just over a month, Halloween night, Ryan's family went out through our whole town and posted about 1,000 flyers through the whole community with the picture of me and the kid's face said, this is a murder in our community, he can't be here. And then the paper did a front page article. And so I just like a couple things went through my mind. Like one, like obviously like I'm still just my proximity to this community is causing them harm still. I don't want to do that. But two, like I'm always going to protect my family. And, with the history, like if I'm at a grocery store and I don't know what's, I want to, it's probably not a smart thing for me to be in proximity to people who like, could potentially create an issue in person if we see each other. And if I'm with my kids, like just not smart. So we ended up like moving up north, and kind of getting out of there, and which was hard, right? Like just kind of getting settled into a job, don't have much money, moving is expensive, but then it just goes back to like one, like God told me, and I knew like 100% like Petaluma wasn't my spot, so I should have listened in the first place. But then two, like he put all these people in my life that made it a lot easier to go through that. So yeah, we got.
Have you talked to them?
So, through that article, like there's been one of his brothers and sisters that reached out through the journalist and extended forgiveness. And
Did you ask for it?
no, like just it happened. Like I've asked for it, and talked about it, and I always pray about it. And the reason why I'm able to like wake up and go through my days is because I believe like God's truly forgiven me and given me this opportunity to redeem myself. And that's the heaviest thing there is. The redemption part of it, like it's not a thing to take lightly, right? Like I've been given a second chance, probably a fifth chance. But with this, I've been given a second chance. And if I fail, like everything I've done is worth nothing, right? And like there's so many people that are looking at me to fail, like, oh, like we knew it, like can't entertain that. And like God allowed me to go through everything I went through, most importantly, to get where I'm at today. Like can't let that, go to nothing. go to waste.
Knowing what it makes them feel like when you fail. Can you imagine what it makes them feel like when you achieve?
Yep.
Because they know you have troubles with it.
Yep.
Like those of us that grew up where they, for whatever reason, we're always running on that freaking edge.
Yep.
It's like when we finally come around and catch the line and start doing the good stuff, it's amazing to them.
Yep.
More so than the kids that have always done good.
Yeah.
How about
yeah.
that?
It's funny
I mean,
because
you get more from them, from the kids who did good.
Yep.
And they're
yep.
like, and I don't know what, that's a human thing. It's a concept, and
well,
it's real.
everybody loves like the Cinderella stories or the redemption stories, and like, you know, when people, the normal's not normal, right?
Yeah.
And so like, you know, those types of stories, people are always like, oh, like that's incredible. And it's funny because you know, all the Christian folks are like, oh, that's like, it's so incredible story and crazy and this and that. I'm like, but like, do you read your Bible? Because like, God didn't use perfect people; He used broken people,
Right.
All of them.
right? You know, like you shouldn't be surprised.
You sure that's the one you want? That's him, all right.
Yep.
That's the dude.
Yep, you shouldn't be surprised, right?
No, you shouldn't be, right?
Marcus was always a little rowdy when he was younger, and the judge that would in town that would like mold him to walk the right path ended up marrying us.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
He's a Marine. He was tough. There's a
Yeah.
few of them up there that when I would get into mischief.
It could be the guy that's like talk shit about him, you know, and could have put him in, but it ended up being a huge mentor. And
I deserved to be in there. Sure did. Well, I mean, I learned quick too, though. You know, once you get some guys when they get in there, it's like, oh, okay,
Yep. Yep.
this is probably a lot cooler than I thought. Right? Yeah,
yeah.
I remember those days. for
so
sure.
getting out, when did you decide like to start your programs and to go back and help people? Because I would think like you'd want to just stay away and not ever want to go back and mess with, you know, the jail system at all.
Yeah. I think I have the record of like returning back to San Quentin, as you know, sooner than anybody else. I was back in within 28 days.
Oh my gosh. As a
and-
volunteer.
Yep. Yep. And so, you know, while I was in, I co-founded For This Productions, which is the only incarcerated film program in the world that has its own social media and YouTube that we got the state to give us. So we have volunteers that manage it, but we produce all the content, tell the stories ourselves. So I, you know, going in for that, the baseball team, you know, just so many different, anytime I go in, you know, one, because when I seen guys who got out and came back, it was like, those were like beacons of hope. It was like, man, like that's going to be me one day. And so I just hope every time I go in that like I could, you know, I could bring that hope into those guys, at least for that day, for that moment. But then it also allows me to like feel that pain that I went through and just a reminder of like where everything changed and where I came from. I don't really want to forget that. Right. So just going back in, like I said, I always wanted to like help people, specifically men, like, you know, become unbreakable, live life through sobriety. And so over the last 2 years, you know, going in and out and trying to figure out, you know, different ways where I could, you know, work and support my family, but also have a big impact. I think in February, I kind of stumbled across this facility that it's always been used as a rehab facility. And so I was like God just kind of threw it there, and I didn't have a plan to open up a rehab or anything. Had this dream. And then one of the guys who's like been mentoring me in like business for many years, like kind of just a mentor in all things, but really like my leadership, I'm always sharing crazy ideas. And he's like, no, probably not, you know. And I shared this idea with him, and he's like, let's go for it. And so we're building a residential treatment facility for men on parole and probation. At least our first couple model programs will be just for guys on parole or probation. Really what I'm trying to build is an alternative to prison. So I want to build a program that, you know, instills the discipline, the structure, provides the value, the opportunity, the hope, most importantly, makes men unbreakable. Like, you know, because back to a lot of these guys are we all know what we're capable of, but they're just broken and they don't know. So we're trying
You gotta
to,
give them a purpose.
yeah.
Men, if they don't have a purpose, that's what we do. Start
Yep.
fighting and doing all that kind of self-destructive stuff. But if we could figure out a way to where when you actually go into the institution, that's your university, and then there's also jobs that have been created by the men who had to go through the university and create its own little empire.
Yep.
Like, look, if you bottomed out over there, man, we got something.
Yep.
And that you got to have discipline. That's just the
Yep.
way it is, man. The most dangerous thing down here is an undisciplined human mind.
Yep.
That's where daddies come into play.
Yep.
You get discipline from your dad. You get your mother's. Your mother gives you manners.
Yep.
That's why you always go back to her, right? It's just like, man, a man will get his ass whooped so bad sometimes his friends won't hang out with him. Mom will.
Yep.
Well, she
I got one right
provides
down the
the
road.
unconditional
Yeah,
love.
unconditional love, man. There's something
Yeah.
about them.
Yep.
That's why you can never fault them
Yep.
because that's that's love.
Yep.
If you pull women away from planet Earth, there goes your love.
Yep. Then it's just
Just
violence.
evil. Just violence, baby.
Yeah.
This is the arena.
That's
That's a true statement.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I was studying the Americas a little while ago, man, and when we were trying to get over here and form everything, it wasn't working till the women showed up and everything. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's a true statement. And that's probably the way it is.
we should probably keep that.
Keep that up. Yeah, keep that in the back of our
a
head.
secret.
Hey, look, guys, if you're an alpha male around here, man, get mad at other guys, fine, man. Don't ever disrespect our women. And we freaking need them, man.
Amen.
Do whatever you can do.
Yeah.
Just don't get mad at them.
Yeah. No, and so, yeah, God allowed me to endure everything and go through what I went through so I could relate to other men who've struggled, and so, that's what we're doing, and the plan is to have these programs and facilities, across the state and hopefully across the country, because there's men out there that need what we have to offer, and anytime you get a bunch of guys together and build a brotherhood and allow for an environment of healing and lean into all the things we like, but do it in a positive way, good things happen to it. And we better husbands, fathers, and leaders is what we need.
Y'all are the ones that can do that. Actually, the most powerful at it are the ones who got stuck in the prisons.
Yep. It's true.
That is absolutely because of what's inside of them. It's absolutely what's inside of them. You know that because of how they wound up in there.
Well, this is what I've always said. Every man needs to either go to prison or to the military.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because the military is going to strip you. You're going to be taken away from what you know. You're going to be pulled out of your comfort zone. Prison's going to do the same thing. So obviously I don't want men to go to prison, but
I know what you're saying.
You needed every man needs to experience being stripped from everything. And
especially in America because we have everything.
we have everything.
And it's not like we're taking it away from it. We're just removing you from it so
Yeah.
you can see how wonderful it is.
92% of people in prison are coming home. So we've worked with I'm working with the Robertsons all the time on we've been working for years on trying to come up with a film that highlights all these stories and and the motto that we keep circling around is today's prisoners, tomorrow's neighbor. And so for the listener that is very conservatives, not big on prison reform and the criminal justice. Well, I too am not a big fan of a lot of the advocacy and a lot of the progressive things that are going on. But today's prisoners, tomorrow's neighbor. We need to, as you said, capitalize, take advantage of these men and women who are have lots of things to offer to the communities. Go build them up while they're inside, at least provide the opportunities and the education for them to better themselves. So when they do come home, because they could be, one, taxpayer, they could be productive members of society, but then they could add value where we need it. Because we all know we need our
You should come out of there with something.
Yep.
A skill set.
Yep.
And it should, go ahead.
Did you ever go back and talk to the Stomper guy?
So every time I share that story, people ask, right? And so
Everybody's probably fascinated with Todd, right? That's his name, Todd? Yeah.
Yep. So, I'm definitely gonna go see him and try to get some time with them. I would love to do it to where I could get him to talk and share like his
Because
side of
that's
it.
obviously, I mean, just from me listening to you tell that story, like God was speaking through him to you
Yep.
on that day. If it weren't for him saying that stuff to you, it would have just been same old day.
Yep.
But it was that combined with the day before your Benny's birthday. It was so
Yep.
many different things, but him saying that to you, you're like, wait, what am I doing?
You know why that happens? Because an alpha won't listen to a beta.
Yep. Yep.
So you literally had to be put into the cage
With
next
the-
to something more deadly than you were.
So
know,
you're the
that's
first
how we do
person
that.
that like pointed that out, and like obviously like
Yeah, that's what that was.
I imagine like
That
I've
happened to me.
assumed that.
That's how I know that.
Yep. But you're exactly right.
That's how it
I
happened,
was
yeah.
put in a cage
Yeah.
next to the you know
Yeah.
the baddest dude like
Yeah.
in the system, and he talked to me.
Yeah, that's how it happened to me too. So when you go back to film him, just hit him with this. You want to get him to do it like this. Say, hey, look, man, give me some wisdom on what you got, because in your world you have it.
Yep.
You have something. You gave it to me. I came back. How old are you?
37.
Yeah, okay. So you remember those videos we had in school, like on the projectors, like
Yeah.
how to do good, like from the early days?
Yep.
Yeah. Because y'all have your own production team. Get
Yep.
them to do that.
Yep.
Those are the best motivationals. Like, hey, don't come in here because you're going to have to deal with me.
Yep.
You know, this is what I did, this is that, and the other. Because kids will listen to that. You know why? Because he's a predator, an alpha
Yep.
predator.
Yep.
And by design, we as soon as you walk in, especially guys like us, man, into any room,
Yep.
you can't help that. Like,
Yep.
who are the badasses in here? Who think they're the badasses in here? Who really runs this place?
Yep.
Men will always do that.
He obviously has a crazy story too, because he wouldn't have talked to you about making yourself, like giving you a second chance if he
Yep.
didn't think about it himself.
Yep.
There's something in there.
So there's
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
something in there that's he has made the decision, okay, I'm whether he doesn't think he's deserving of redemption or whatever it is, but he knows that other people in there have a chance.
Yep. Oh,
And
he's
he's
a smart dude.
encouraging
Imagine
it.
how thick his armor is.
Yep.
That's why he acts like that, right? So
Yep.
men, the harder life is on them, the deeper and stronger their armor is. So when they wake up in the morning, it doesn't matter who walks in there, they're going to be on it.
Yep.
To get through that is very difficult.
Very difficult. Yeah.
Very
That guy-
difficult. Especially in there.
Yep.
They've never show you any inclination he has any kind of weakness in there.
Yep.
That's by design, man.
I would also be interested to hear the stories of like the captain and some of the guys on the other side, the guards that were in there that showed you grace,
Yep.
because they could have easily just said F you and treated you like a rat in there.
And this is the part that I tell the guys, right? Because there was times where I'd go in and like Captain Escalera, I'd go into the captain's porch and he'd challenge me with the Bible verse, and like, but the guys in blue are seeing me go into the captain's porch like, oh, like, and I'd tell myself, oh, they probably think I'm snitching right now,
Check.
right? But then it got to a point where like, you know, one, I'll whoop them like if anybody says anything, but two, like I don't care. Most
Care,
importantly, right? But like. Then it gets to the, like I tell people like it always used to be told to me like the joke was with all the brothers, right? They call me white privilege, right? But they knew that it was just a joke, right? Because like I'd be able to get anything done in the prison, right?
It's a joke, but it's true.
But like it's true in the sense of like yeah, like my race might be helpful in some of these conversations, but most importantly, it's like how I'm showing up.
yeah, it's
how,
your
like,
character. It's
my
not your race.
It's how I'm character up. Like I would, you know, I don't like to get into the whole race thing and stuff, but like, you know, unfortunately, if I was anything but white where I committed my crime, I probably received a life sentence just
Sure.
because it was you know, Michael Moore did a documentary on the sheriff's department called The Good Old Boys, right? Like they and so like anywhere I see that type of stuff, right? Like I'm always gonna like speak up for like the injustice, but like overall, like I was able to overcome and get the things done that I did, not because of a skin color, but because like I was accountable. I told the officers, the captain, the warden, like I apologize. Like I was never intending to like hit one of your officers and your staff. Like give me, and then I asked for a second chance. And this is back to like, if I knew I had a problem. I knew I had a problem with alcohol and stuff, but I was afraid to ask for help. And so, you know, Ryan still might be living if I actually asked for help. But I was, as a man, like in our culture, you're not supposed to ask for help, right? At least that's how it was then, right? But like at the prison, like I asked for something. So a lot of people don't ask, right? They're like, they just assume it's always going to be a no. Well, like I remember there was this teacher, and like probably not the best story to say, but he's like, look, you're men. If you go to 100 women and ask them if they, would sleep with you, one of them's gonna say
one
yes.
out of 100.
But if you don't ask,
you'll never know.
You're never gonna
Bro,
know,
that's
right?
wisdom right there, man. My chief gave me that same line.
So like,
Just ask them.
so say that to say,
Yeah, I remember that.
you say that. I say that you got a closed mouth don't get fed, and you gotta be willing to like step out of that comfort zone and ask. But that was always the joke, like, oh, white privilege, and like, no, dude, like this is just like working,
ask.
right?
Yeah,
Working and gaining the trust that like people could trust you, they could count on you, they could rely on you, and as men, like that's what it's all about. Like you want to be trusted. I used to not be trusted, right? Like people.
Well, you're only trusted because you did what you said you were going to do in your second chance.
Yep.
You have held yourself accountable. You haven't gone back to drinking. You haven't gone back to a criminal lifestyle. You did what you said you were going to do.
Yep.
And then it's because of those actions they can trust you. It's the people that say, oh, I'll do that and I'll get a second chance. And they get it. And then they just hide their criminal activity.
Yep.
Those are the people that lose so much respect for like a whole category of people because
All people.
or just all
Yep.
people because they're lying about it. If you're just truthful and trustworthy, then
Dude, that word reliable. In the Midwest, like our group of people in the Midwest, they're known for their reliability.
Yep.
You want to be Midwest reliable. I don't care where a dude comes from, how he's painted up, what he looks like. If other men know that sucker's reliable,
yeah.
he can go do his thing. If we're not using him and he's doing it, that's fine, man. Everyone's got a
Yeah.
habit, a hobby, and a good time.
Yep.
And if you call that joker up, he'll freaking show. You know what that does when another man knows that? Like when you got a buddy that'll show and go. We talked about it earlier, man. That's why we pack up.
Yep.
He's like, but that reliable guy, man.
Well,
and alcohol gets in the way of that for sure.
It allows those people that to be more confident. Right? Like
Takes
if
the
I
burden
know
off
I
of
can
them.
call Marcus up and Marcus got my back, like it allows me to be more confident in handling certain situations because let's just face it, like in life, like yeah, we accomplish things on our own, but like nothing great is accomplished without a team.
Period.
And so, I remember when I was like early on in one of my best friends, mentors, he's like, Branden, he's like, I'm going to give you one piece of advice. He said, look, in life, yeah, you could go faster alone, but you go farther together. So build a team around you. Like just because these guys are moving slower and not, doing the things that you want them to do. And so you think you just go do it all for them. Like one, you're not teaching them, right? Like move at their pace, but like you're going to go farther with them. You're going to go farther together.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting? It just popped in my mind. One of the big differences that I've seen when you were talking about being in sports as a kid, and when you don't have that, you feel like, well, where's my identity? I can't just be me. One thing that I've noticed a lot of the guys in the military or especially special forces, they not only did team sports, or maybe they didn't even do team sports, they did martial arts or karate, some sort of martial arts where it was an individual sport, learning about character and discipline in themselves. And they might have that same powerful, I don't even know what you call it, gumption to walk the line, to be that edge walker, but that it's the character building as a kid with the martial arts. I think that's so important in today's time. Like
Discipline.
The discipline of it.
Yep.
Well, and you're taught like not to start a fight. You're taught to
Finish the fight.
yeah, like
Here's what happens with martial arts, all right, just real fast. In the beginning, you're learning all your techniques, and then when you get your black belt is when you're the most dangerous because you want to road test it.
Yep.
You won't go looking for it, but damn sure won't run away from it.
Yep.
Period. The real concept behind it is after years of the training, you realize, I don't want to fight
Yep.
because it hurts. And I'm
It
good
does.
enough to know that I don't have to fight you, and you learn other ways to disarm somebody. but there's a process.
It's a long process.
It's a long process. It absolutely is, man. And they always preach like, hey, don't fight with this. You're like, well, this is why I'm learning this.
Yep.
So I don't get picked on. And then not to get picked on, we fight. And so there's levels of it. But if you incorporated that, let's say in there,
In
and
school,
have all of them
it
do
needs
that.
to be in school.
It needs to be in
at
schools.
Yeah,
a
in schools.
young
Yep.
age, because that is like a self-confidence.
The confidence,
It's a discipline,
discipline.
at a very young
You
age.
don't want to fight because you're always fighting in there. That's where you
Yeah.
get that out of there, man.
Especially now with the kids like in social media and video,
Yeah.
like, you know, like, yeah, we need to figure out a way to like get into the schools, teach these.
It just needs to be a class, like
just a class.
Discipline.
a martial
Like
arts.
PE, it's your discipline, your civics. You know,
Yep.
you know how civil you are with another human being once you've rolled with them,
Yep.
because you can feel them.
Yep.
I mean, that's a thing, and you
Yep.
you get better with it. Then for whatever reason, in the human condition, once we fight each other and roll like that, we become buddies.
Yep. All my best friends were,
From a scrap.
from a scrap.
Every
Lacey,
single one of mine too.
Lacey, my wife, she's like for the longest time, she was like your clean date. For most people is like sober. It was for me. It was like fighting. Even though like I gave my life to God and I got sober, like I'm still in prison and I still like was like quick triggered and fighting. But then it hurts, right? You don't want to do it. It got to a point to where I remember. I think it was my last fight. The dude was like spinning, moving his head, and like I got him and I put him out, but like got my pinky and I broke my hand, right? And then I had
It's
to go.
the little ones, right?
Hey,
Like,
and then I had to go. And then like when he went out, like we were up on the 5th tier where all the fights happened in one of the buildings at San Quinn, and like he went out and slid because the floors had just been mopped, and he was like hanging a little bit over and I just
Oh my
seen him like
gosh.
going off into the shower. And I was like, okay, yeah, I can't be doing this, but my hand really hurt, and then I had to go fabricate this whole thing to like, so an officer seen me hit my hand and then go, because I had to get it fixed
Yeah.
up, and I was like, this is just not worth it no more. And
Yeah.
so, but
That's what
like,
happens. You just kind of grow out of it.
you're like, this is not worth it. It was fun until it
fun.
wasn't.
I'm not going to come down any guy for that. Like I'll never come down on a man for that. I won't. But I will say that like we grow out of it.
We grow out of it.
And there will be a point to where you're going to turn around because you're going to run into yourself.
Yep.
Like me and you are going to run into each other ourselves out there one day.
Yep.
At that
Hope
young
not.
age. Me neither. But I'm
And
ready.
we don't want that.
Yeah, I don't want that.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like this now. So I can talk to him. I'm like, hey, look, calm down.
Yep.
I got some good stuff for you. I'm going to hit you with some wisdom, not a fist.
And I'm going to pray for you.
Pray for you. Yep.
Oh my gosh. Well, we're at 2 hours. Thank you so
Man, I could
much
stay here and
for,
talk to you all day,
yeah,
bro.
we could
Thanks for-
talk to
How
you.
can people follow you? What do we need to do
Yeah.
to...
Yeah, I got Instagram, Branden Terrell Coaching. Really, that's just Instagram. We're working now at my rehab facilities called Elevate Impact. So we don't have a website, but we're working with a branding marketing company right now. So probably in the next couple months, we'll have a website, elevateimpact.com. But yeah, I'm super grateful for the opportunity. And like I said, like just driving down the dirt road is like, why is it, you have all these people telling me like that served, that like done honorable things, that they do anything to be in this seat, and why did God give it to me? Like I don't take that lightly, and I hope this conversation leads to some good things for people who are listening.
I will.
For sure.
Most definitely. God bless you, man. Keep up the good work.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank you.